Yeah, I'm Danny Holmes, and I'm playing Gabe.
Excellent. And what drew you to Gabe's character?
Oh, it's so simple to just say I love him. I love him so much. I knew about this character years ago when I was a kid, um, and I always liked how playful he is. Like he is very much the little brother, and even though he is technically older than Natalie, and as someone who grew up as the younger brother of a couple sisters, I always leaned into the more maybe annoying and obnoxious and fun side, like fun-loving side of the family dynamic, and I just love that he's able to have such different relationships with each member of the family, and I thought that would be really fun to play and change and see how I like to do it with my cast members.
Wait, so you said why, like, in what way you're similar as like that little brother and the
Yeah.
playfulness. Are there major differences that make it at all challenging to play?
Ooh. Yes, I think especially of just how he's portrayed, especially in the beginning, he's seen as more of kind of what's the word? Maybe more stubborn and maybe more rebellious to his parents and stuff. He's this kind of teenage, angsty, witty kind of guy. I think I was a little different as a teenager, but definitely brought that same playful energy. Not as much angst, but playfulness.
Oh, your parents are looking, so you were a good
I was a good
kid.
kid, I think.
Okay. And what drew you to the play as a whole?
I love this play. I think what drew me to it originally, my sister was the one who introduced it to me. She fell in love with the show. And I think what originally really stuck with me was the music and the style of the music and how it told stories really well. Each song is so specific and so unique from the rest of the songs in the show. And that just helps the story get put together of these four very different individuals. So each of their are so different from each other, and yet they all fit in the same vein and the same story. I love their use of storytelling and the composer's use of text specifically. It's really unique and really special.
What do you mean when you say the composer's use of text?
Yeah, I really the text that they use is very, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like street, but it seems like normal things that some people would say. The text is very specific to the characters and it's very specific to their experiences. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but it doesn't feel performative. It doesn't feel presenting. It feels very much like real life people experiencing these things through song, if that makes sense.
So perfectly natural, except they're singing.
Except they're singing and belting their heads off. Yeah.
Do you have a particular song that is your favorite?
Ooh. A favorite of my songs or the songs in the show at
In the
all?
show, in the show.
I think I really love Didn't I See This Movie, which is near the end of Act One for Diana. I just think it's such a big rock breakout that really like changes up format of the entire show, and it's just so fun. Like I think the actress just gets to go crazy and have as much fun as she can up there. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad.
The song
I
I
know a
sing,
song in the show.
copy
Which is your
that.
favorite one?
Gotcha. Well, now you get a second take. A favorite of my songs, I think I have to go with the classic I'm Alive. I think that is the song that everyone expects from Gabe and expects from this character, and I think there's a good reason for it. It is just so fun and present, and I'm able to just explode with energy and totally change up the entire format. Yeah, I have to go with that one. I've been singing it for years too. Um,
So
yeah,
besides the challenge of him being more stubborn than you, what are
yeah.
some other challenges about?
um, yeah, I think
If we can do it without
I know
spoilers.
that's what I was trying to think of.
Like,
How do we do that? Yeah,
hard with your character.
it is a little tough with my character. I think I can try to be vague though. I think one of the challenges for me is because he is such a different character from the rest of the family members, because he is a little more free spirited, a little less connected to like the everyday stressors of life, he's able to kind of float and move through scenes very differently from the rest of his family, who are very much like stressed and to the point and have to get their point across. He's able to kind of just float through his life and not worry about as many things. And I think portraying that and keeping the intentions behind his actions, I think that's going to be really not challenging, but very interesting for me because it's such a unique character. He doesn't have a lot of really powerful forward drive to do many of his actions. So I'm going to have to be able to find those things in order to make his character make sense in each scene. You know what I mean?
Anything else that you think that people should know or that you want to say about the play?
Yeah, I think the most important part to me about this play is its portrayal of mental illness and mental health in general. What we think of as mental health versus mental illness, and the stigmas that surround that, and how it can affect an entire family and everyone connected to it. I think that's really important for people to see. If you talk to our production team, they'll discuss the radicalization that this brought on American theater in 2007 when it came out. It was way ahead of its time because of its subject matter and all of the different things it goes into. And I think that is extremely important, especially in our current state, in where we are in theater. I think it's really important for us to talk about these stories of these misrepresented people, and that we don't just villainize them for just, being a little different, maybe.
When you say the difference between mental health and mental illness, for our audience understanding this play,
Yeah.
what is important for them to know and
Yeah.
to differentiate between those?
Yeah, in my understanding, I think of mental health as something that we all have. It's something that we all have, we all garner. It is, whatever that state may look like. Mental illness can be considered as something that can affect or possibly impair that health in some way. Not exactly a disease in all cases, but sometimes it is as simple as a minor disability or something that people in our society can often misunderstand and therefore can very much stigmatize and put in a negative connotation.
How does the play help destigmatize that?
I think we get such a deep look at Diana's character, and both the state that her mental health is and the grief that she is experiencing and how those mix. I think just looking how deeply that let me rephrase. I can't find my way through it. We get such a close and intimate look at her character and at her struggles through this show that maybe average everyday audiences wouldn't be able to see in any other form of media right now. So I think diving really deeply into how she affects the world around her and how she affects her family is really important, because we only think of someone with a mental impairment as a negative, or as someone who is just someone with a problem, instead of someone who may needs extra help. And I think we get to that also with the doctors as well. The first doctor that she's with doesn't exactly help her all that much. The second doctor maybe helps her a little too much. So finding that balance for her, I think, is really important for people to understand that it's not a perfect process for anyone.
Fascinating. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So when you talk about like going into depth, how does the medium of it being a musical affect that discussion?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think something about musicals in general is that they make everything a little more accessible. If we're able to repeat certain phrases in a chorus and show the really raw emotions of someone going through these struggles, I think it helps audiences to connect with it much easier than if we were to just speak it to them. Something about the music and the mood and the lighting and the atmosphere and everything about the stage helps audiences to feel immersed in the world and make it feel okay for them to feel the things the actors are feeling.